Welcome to bond valuation. So this is for my accounting 2 class. This is for FMCC students, MyFMBizHub, and I will place this for you to see on your course shell. So your question I have for you, if you look here, is I have question 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to have to answer these questions yourself in calculating the value of the bond. And I've given you the answers in example 1, discount bond, and example 2, the video premium bond. So what I'm going to do is show you how to calculate this. So for example here, we have on July 21st, 2007, we issued 20,500,000 10-year bonds with a coupon of 11%. At the time of the sale of the effective rate, interest is 12%, which is also known as the market rate. So the market is paying more than we are offering in issuing our bond at 11. So this is therefore going to be a discount bond. So I expect my answer to come out less than 20,500,000. Not by a lot, because it's only 1 basis point. The interest is being paid semi-annually, and I'm going to go ahead and make this calculation. So the principal is 20,500,000. So I type the number in here, and I'm in B6. The coupon rate is 11%. The coupon is what the company or the issuer of the bond promised to pay the bondholder. The real interest rate over here in A8 is also known as the market rate, and that is the amount we use to discount. And the term is a 10-year bond, and interest is being paid semi-annually. So therefore there are 20 periods. So every year there's 2 payments of the bond interest. So 10 times 2 is 20, so I'm going to put 20 in here. Now we have to calculate how much interest is the company going to pay the bondholders. So I'm going to be in B11, and it equals the principal multiplied by, so I'm using the asterisks, the coupon. So in this case, the company has promised to pay 11% to its bondholders. Now this 11% is an annual interest rate. Interest rates are always quoted annually. So we have to divide this by 2 because the interest is going to be paid semi-annually. So we're going to get 20 of these interest amounts because it's half of the year. So every half year I'm going to get 1.1 million or 1,127,500 every 6 months for 20 periods. Now I have to figure out, well, I'm going to get 20 of these payments. What is the present value of this stream of cash flows or an annuity payment? So I'm going to go to formulas. I'm going to click in my cell B13. I'm going to go formulas. I'm going to find my financial formulas. So we're going to look over here. And if I find, in yours when you pull it down, you probably should have financial. And Mrs. Over here, I'm looking at financial. Everyone will find it in slightly different places. And we're trying to find present value. So I'm going to put in PV. And it's asking me for PV. And the present value of the first thing we're going to type in is rate. So my rate is 12%. And I'm going to divide this by 2. My number of periods, so I'm going to put a comma in here. You might have a nice table that says rate NPER, which will be nice, easier than what I'm seeing over here. But the number of periods is 20. Remember we said it's semi-annual. Excuse me. The payments in this case is the 1,127,500. So I could type that in, or I could reference it here. And that's all I need to put in this particular formula, because the future value is not relevant in this case. So I'm going to press enter. And the one thing I did forget to tell you is the interest amount of the B11 up here needs to have a minus sign in front of it because it's a payment out. So then I will get a positive response, and the present value of 20 payments of 1,127,500 is 12.9 million. Now, if I give the company 20,500,000 in time 0, and then in 10 years, which is 20 periods from now, how much is that 20,500,000 worth in today's money? So I'm going to go do present value again, find financial, PV, and I'm going to type in, when I click in here, it says the rate, and we always discount at the market rate, and in this case it's divided by 2 because it's semi-annual. The number of periods is 20, so it's discounting 20 times 6 at 6%. Payment is irrelevant in this case, so I can put comma 0, and the future value is we have to pay out this minus 20,500, right? So it says put this in parentheses here. I'm just going to put this in, and I'm assuming that you guys will have a nice table to fill out when you're doing this. And now I'm going to press enter. Oh, and I got an insufficient formula, so I have to go back and change this. And as I do this, I now have the present value discounting at 12% over 10 years or 20 periods is only worth 6.3 million. I'm going to add this up so I can just hit auto sum. So the present value of my interest, the present value of my principal, comes back to 19,324,333. In the book, if you look at page 647 and 648 and start reading from there, we'll start talking about tables. And I've put the tables at the end over here, and you can check your numbers with the tables if you would like. Most people don't use tables anymore. They just use Microsoft Excel and or your financial calculator. But I'm going to leave this up here, post it up here. You have the answers to this, and you've seen how I've done it. And then you would go ahead and do the same thing for example 2, but I've given you these answers in here. So you can go ahead and try it and see if you get the same answers that I've given you in Blackboard. And then I would go ahead and answer the questions for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just click through. Tell me, is this a premium or a discount bond? So in this case, it is a discount bond because the market is going to pay more than I'm paying. So why would a bondholder invest in my bond? So I'm going to have to discount it. In the next case, we have a premium bond. So when you read this, it tells you that we are buying a $1,000 bond for 5 years, and it's going to be annually. So the coupon's paid annually, so that's once a year, so no need to divide by 2. And they're going to pay 10. The annual coupon payments are 10%, but the market's only paying 8. So if I'm an analyst for a company, why would I pay an investor 10% when I can only pay them 8%? So I'm going to make them pay a premium at the beginning for this bond. So it's going to be greater than 1,000. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do this, even though you have the answer. And you can also watch this video up here, and I've put it as a separate link on Blackboard. But the principal is 1,000, so I'm going to go ahead and click. And the coupon rates, if I look up here, is 10%. The real interest rate is 8, so it's less. And the term is 5 because it's annually, being paid annually. The interest is always the principal times what the coupon is. That's the time when you use the coupon rate. So I'm going to get $100 a year for investing in this $1,000 bond. Now, we always use, when we use present values over here, we're always going to use the real interest rate or the market rate to discount. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to, if you see, I've already left the formulas in here for you, so I'm expecting the answer to come back at 1,079.85, which is greater than 1,000, so I'd have to pay 1,079.85 to get into this bond. But I want to show you the Excel calculations because that's what you're going to be doing in the 4 questions and on future quizzes. So I'm going to go to present value, so I'm going to find formulas, PV, so financial. Go down to PV, And if I click in here, it then gives me the rate. So we know we're always discounting at the 8%, so I'm going to put in 8%, comma, the number of periods is 5, comma, and the payment is the $100, and then I just have to press enter. Oh, once again, I forgot to put the minus sign. It's a common thing with students and obviously myself. Put the negative sign in because we're paying it out, and then we'll come back, and 5 times 100 is $500. I'm paying out $500, but the present value, the time value of this money is eroding at 8% away, so really it's only worth $399.27 in today's money. So to get that money, I'm only going to pay $399 for it. The present value of the principal is $1,000, so what should I really pay today to get $1,000 in 5 years from now? So I go once again, I click in the cell, I find financial, I go down to PV, and I click in here, and if you have the table, great. So the rate is 8. The number of periods is 5. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to back out. I clicked a bit crazy. So here, comma, and then the number of periods is 5, comma, and the payment's not relevant in this case, so I'm going to put in 0, comma, and then the future value is this $1,000. But don't forget, like, I've made the mistake, so I don't want you to. Put the minus sign in because I'm going to pay it out in the end, and I'm going to press enter. So the present value of $1,000, discounting at 8% every year for 5 years, is $680.58. So that's how I would expect if I invested $680 for 5 cycles at 8%, it would be worth $1,000 in 5 years. So why would I pay all that money today? I'm also going to get interest payments every year at 10%, which is nice, but I'm going to erode that away at the 8% market rate. I'm going to add these two numbers up, and hey presto, it comes back to the $1,079.85. So I want you to go ahead now and take a look and try it for yourselves.